Hello, and welcome back to the Safaricom Newsroom podcast. Today, we'll be having a conversation with some of the biggest and brightest in the Kenyan creative industry. We're discussing the conversation around AI. So I'm going to give them a chance to introduce themselves first so that they can tell us a bit about themselves and what they do.
Hello, my name is Eric Kasina. I am a communications specialist. I've been doing all things to do with marketing, communication strategies, from designing, implementation, and all that. And now I'm embracing AI because I know everything is in that space.
My name is Shem Obara. I am a photographer, videographer, and quite recently an AI enthusiast.
Hello, my name is Kezia Mubi. I am a content creator, a model, and a software engineer. Yeah, and my relationship with AI is it's most frightening and exciting. It's very complicated, but trying to adapt to it in my work, both sectors.
My name is Leonard Zoga. I'm a copywriter, and I've interacted with AI, and I think it's quite interesting and also a bit scary in my sector because a lot of things can be done in terms of copy, but I feel like there's a lot of learning that we could learn from it, and also what AI can learn from us.
I don't know who wants to tackle this question because obviously the people who will be listening in want to understand what exactly is artificial intelligence, because that is what AI is, and how would you say it's relatable to the Kenyan creative industry and marketing space?
Okay, well, my understanding is that AI is it's a simulation of human intelligence, like using algorithms and data to be able to make a machine mimic traits that would normally be found in humans. So things like problem solving, decision making, generating ideas, stuff along those lines, things that require human intelligence. So getting a machine to be able to do all of these things that were typically, reserved for the humans, is all that encompasses AI.
Also, to add on to AI, I feel like AI is a combination of, I'd say, all human data and past, future, present. It's constantly absorbing everything about all the data we feed it. Through machine learning, we're training it to think more like humans, as Shem said.
Yeah.
We're training it to be, hopefully, maybe even smarter than us if it gets to that point. And with the data science, I think it's very interesting that, AI has surpassed human expectations. With chatbots and Dall-E and creations of images. It's very exciting to see how the data we're feeding it as humans, we're training it now through machine learning. We're training it to reason the way we are. But will it reach a point where it will start reasoning in a different manner through studying what we as humans have been feeding the great internet or something?
So obviously now bringing it back home and wanting to understand it now in the Kenyan context, do you believe that what we call AI, artificial intelligence, is fitting in the Kenyan creative and marketing space?
I think it is. I think we've seen actually in the agency that I'm in, we're actually experimenting that. We're not kind of using stock images per se because it's already been used before. There's an image that it's been used by a different agency or different brand, and it kind of confuses the end user or the consumer. So we try to use that as well, kind of differentiate, kind of have a new way of telling the brand story, or a new way to just give the brand a new image.
In my opinion, AI has a huge potential in the Kenyan creative space, especially. There's now an influx of new programs and softwares, AI softwares that are able to intensify or amplify, for a better word, amplify your creativity, especially as a photographer or a videographer. I use programs such as Midjourney and Runway, for example. These fall under generative AI. That's artificial intelligence that is able to create, new content, visual content, so image and video. By just using prompts, text prompts, I'm able to create a whole new world where I can take consumers of my art to. There's a huge amount of potential in this sector if utilized correctly. Yeah, but there are also a lot of limitations with AI because, especially in Kenya, you can find that there is, for example, a language barrier. For an AI model to be able to work effectively, it needs to be trained under a vast amount of data. So when you find someone living in Kenya and speaks only Swahili, for example, as a language, AI hasn't been trained in enough Swahili for it to be able to give results that are aligned with whatever the person is thinking of, So, such limitations are actually there. It might be a question of time, giving it time so that they can be able to learn and acquire the data and use it in future.
Away from the Kenyan context, internationally, I think the discussions that I've seen online are about how, even away from the data in terms of how we localize it to Kenya, even just having black imagery, there's a lot of times where they're trying to input, what's it called? They're trying to make let's say create a concept like an image from Midjourney, and trying to have it to actually have visually what we call, I guess, black essence, black look. The way black people look like has been a problem, because even when you do your regular Google searches, or even on your Pinterest, things like that, exactly, you find that there's a lack of black.
Yeah. For the Pinterest, you always have to add black
girls, something, blacks. So yeah, that's already even a problem. Yeah, exactly. So my next question is, and I think Shami kind of touched upon it, and how you say that you've used softwares like Midjourney to amplify the art that you do. Maybe I pose this to everyone else. How would you say AI has managed to influence your creative processes in photography, marketing, content creation, all of that? Kezia?
For example, if I was to actually, when I'm visualizing a shoot, sometimes it's very abstract in my mind. And I'll give an example about a shoot we're doing with costumes and griffins and whatnot. So coming up with that idea, yes, it sounds amazing in your head, but how do you visualize it? Where would you start when it comes to props, costumes, and makeup? So softwares like Midjourney have helped me visualize that, where I can put in some prompts, maybe the base of the idea I had. And from that, I can see, okay, this is how I can go about implementing it. Especially when it comes to concepts like Afrofuturism and, out of this world work. Yeah, it's much easier to visualize it. Also, to explain to the rest of the team, this is what is in my mind. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I can add something to what she's just said. I've been intentional about AI, and I think it's a business opportunity, especially for us in our local context, where we are still way behind in this digital journey. I've used AI to create content for businesses and earn money because of that ability for AI to visualize for you. I've been able to work for different kinds of businesses. I move around, look for a salon, a kinyozi, laundry shop, all sorts. And then I'm able to key in data to AI like ChatGPT and tell it, write for me a post for Facebook, for and then it will give you something in that particular context. And because not so many people are in the digital space, especially people in the business world, it's a good opportunity for us to explore and get to make money and create employment with it. Yeah.
I think it's interesting that you actually touched upon that in terms of employment, and your mention of ChatGPT, because I feel like when it launched late last year, there was a lot of these conversations about how is it going to replace what people are doing, jobs. Yeah. I think there was all the dramas of people saying that it's going to take out. Exactly. So I would actually want you to just touch more on that, Eric, and tell us what is your viewpoint on how it's affecting in terms of roles and jobs in the creative field? Is it a plus? Is it a minus? Or is it something that we can balance and work together with it to, as Shem had put before, is amplify what we do?
Okay, AI is here to help us co-create, if I may say, not to replace, but it's here to enhance what we do. For example, for people like me who do copywriting, you see, there is always that human touch, the human emotion that AI will not have, but it will generate good stuff, good text and all that. And that's the point where I come in as a human kind of addition to whatever has been created. And then I can put emotions to that.
My next question, I want to pose it to Kezia. I'd say AI has enabled a lot of personalized content delivery with marketing. As Shem said, it kind of amplifies and gives it something that's a bit different from, I guess, what Eric is touching upon, following the trends. In your opinion, how has this affected now your audience engagement and receptiveness to your creative content?
Okay, I feel like I'm able to, through insights, I'm able to see which posts got the most like from my followers. That means, okay, is this what they like more when I'm moving my art in this direction? For example, when I shoot outside, anywhere outdoors, I'll always get more likes. I do not know why. For example, it shows you if you followed Shem, or if you follow a creative who likes to paint her face and throw fabrics around, you would like Kezia. And I think that's really helped, because now the people who stumble onto my page really resonate with my art and they end up loving it and staying. I'm able to create art that resonates with them, and we fight.
She's touched on a bit in terms of insights. Now we want to talk about maybe how AI algorithms can sometimes, what they say, perpetuate biases, like we had mentioned prior, about the kind of maybe the data that has been presented in or inputted. How would you think we can address these ethical concerns when using AI in terms of your creative work?
For sure, when training an AI model, you need like a vast amount of data, as I had mentioned before. Most of the time, lots of these, especially these mainstream AI models, have been trained on a lot of data from the public domain, and you can find that a lot of materials present in the public domain have issues or ethical concerns, for example, because the internet is just a very wild place. Like, you can find any and everything over there. So when training these models, it's very easy for even the developer of the AI model to look over or to brush over like some pieces of material, because like they wouldn't be able to know, because they're just like feeding the thing. Like, for example, with Johnny, if you want like photos, like you're just going to go to like Google, for example, just get like lots of photos of anything and then just like tell me, Johnny, yeah, these are photos. So like when you're giving it all that information, like bits and pieces of like unethical or biased material can be able to find its way into the AI model, and the model won't know this.
Yeah.
So when creating with such a model, for example, you need to have like lots of preventative measures when it comes to like creating work. So one of the things I do, for example, is making sure that whatever work I create is, like, it's not borderline things that would be deemed as insensitive or, like biased. It's things that are wholesome. It's things that are telling a story, as I had mentioned. Yeah, so just making sure that the content that I'm creating is very ethical, very, like straightforward in its goodness is one of the most important things that I do. Another thing is also like, and this one would probably go to the developers of the models and anyone looking to develop any models. It's making sure that the data that you train your AI models on is trained on ethical data. Like, and when I say ethical, it doesn't mean like things that are only insensitive. We can also have data that is illegal. Like in terms of like IP or copyright issues. So there's this software, Adobe. They normally do Photoshop and Premiere Pro and the entire Adobe suite. Those who know. So Adobe released something called Adobe Firefly, which is basically their own generative AI tool. And the model was trained on completely safe data, like, data that is legal, data that does not have any that does not have any royalties and copyright infringements attached to it. So that any creator who's using the platform is able to create good and completely ethical content. It's just very important to make sure that the work that you're creating using such models is very safe to use. That's for one. And two, does not infringe upon anyone's intellectual property rights or copyright rights.
So maybe on that, Zoga, I'd want to ask you, in your copywriting and advertising work that you do, have you found that there are AI technologies that can assist in generating ideas? I feel like Kezia had mentioned this earlier in terms of how she visualizes, and content suggestions or image enhancements, as Shem has mentioned. Do you strike a balance between leveraging on that assistance versus maintaining your own creative role inside what you do?
The one tool that I really like using is ChatGPT. I mostly use it for brainstorming. I don't like going a bit further, like taking it word for word. So I put in a lot of prompts so that what I get is a refined idea, and I kind of work around that. So that helps me kind of really pronounce my initial idea and what I had in my head before I start doing any writing and anything of that matter.
Do you think at times it can also be used as a tool to become complacent, because you have this tool that can take from many avenues and give you ideas and stuff like that, that people might just start saying, okay, you know what, I can just type in and I'll give you that idea. And do you think that's wrong? I'd like to say, do you think it's ethical?
I mean, my opinion is of that it might be kind of satisfactory, and mostly if you get to that boundary, it's kind of scary, because when you think about being creative, it's exhilarating, it's exciting. It's human, it's boundless, just like you said. And there's that aspect that you are pushing away and kind of going to those softwares just to get a quick prompt out, or a quick idea out, which is not really well thought out.
So my next question actually goes back to you now, Shem. No, because some of your photography and the artworks that you say you've done on Midjourney. From that, would you say that, or how would you say that you approach issues of copyright? Because we've discussed how some of the data that is entering in these models is kind of limited, and then there might also be those issues of IP, intellectual property infringements. So how would you approach copyright and intellectual property of your own creative role?
The entire artificial intelligence space is very new. So with that, it needs a lot of tiptoeing around just to be able to make sure that you're forging the right path ahead. So when it comes to copyright and intellectual property rights, in regards to AI work, I would say in my own workflow, in my own creations, I'm currently not using artificial intelligence commercially. I'm not selling any of my work that I'm creating through Midjourney on commercially, because there's one thing, as I said, Midjourney was a program that was trained on a huge data set. So that's you can't know for sure that whatever you're creating is not infringing on someone's copyright somewhere. So it's very important to put those things into consideration when creating. So what I'm doing now is making sure that learning the technology itself. I'm just exploring it, getting the settings and just understanding, so that I can be able to work better with it. That being said, there are still some things that you can use to be able to make sure that if you're creating for commercial purposes using artificial intelligence, there's some things you can just make sure you have at hand. When you create a piece of work using Midjourney, for example, and you are not sure whether it infringes on anyone's copyrights, it's very important to first check the copyright laws surrounding the model. Because when you subscribe to Midjourney, you sign those. I have read those terms and conditions. Yes, so it's very important to read up on their licensing panel and just understand their position when it comes to like copyright and licensing.
Now my question to you would be, are you seeing the difference in the way you used to do your marketing strategies before versus how they are right now with using in line with the AI optimizing tools? Are you getting better engagement? Like, what are the prospects? Are you seeing better growth?
Definitely, because we are moving from bricks to clicks now. I mean, the brick and mortar model of marketing to the clicks. I have this number of clicks. Before then, we used to say this number of visitors coming to the store. Today, it's about the number of clicks. Then after the clicks, what's the next action? The good thing about it, it's you can measure it. It's not like the old way of doing things when we would put a billboard and assume along this road we have had 100 cars and maybe this is the number of people. We would do a lot of assumptions. When it comes to the other space, it's real time and it can give you actual results and tell you these are the number of people who saw the ad, these are the number of people who clicked on it, these are the number of people who bought as a result of the ad and all that. I think we all need to embrace AI and get to move to that space.
Zoga, I'm throwing it back to you. You've discussed how you've used ChatGPT to assist you in terms of brainstorming, idea generation, to even refine what your idea is. Because we've started embodying these tools into our daily tasks and what we do here in terms of marketing. Have you encountered any resistance or what would you say skepticism from your colleagues or clients when trying to incorporate AI into your creative processes?
There are a few copywriters that I've worked with, and back then we didn't use AI, but they really taught me to engage my lateral thinking and kind of explore different ways of writing. When you use AI, for instance, to probably promote a brand or a product, you put the wonderful copy that they've come up with and put it there. But what if you remove the brand? How would you identify the copy with the brand? So it is just that mental kind of fight that I usually have with myself, because I know the people who kind of guided me before wouldn't want me to solely rely on this, So that's the kind of resistance I've been getting. Other than that, most of the people that I work with, they're really eager to see what the AI tools can really take a brand or an idea. It's mostly one of those two that I'm really fighting with. But yeah, I try to cut it in the middle. There's one day that I use it, one day it's days that I don't. Yeah, so yeah, it kind of helps me even to rely on myself when it comes to creating ideas and making those ideas my own and not solely from the tool.
I can completely understand, because there's also that thing where you feel like maybe you're betraying the skills or your creative skills that you have inside by relying on this tech.
For sure, I've encountered lots of skepticism with my work. I've actually gotten people like telling me that my work is unoriginal. All my AI generated work is unoriginal, because it's like generally just taking, like pictures from all over the internet and then like putting them together. But I normally like look at such comments and then I'm like, but at the end of the day, it's still me giving the machine that prompt to be able to give, like the result that I am putting out to my followers. It's just the same with like photography. In photography, it's just the same as creating like an idea. At this point, like there's no original idea, especially when it comes to like creativity in photography. There's no original idea. I can look at you with your orange dress today and be like, wow, orange, okay. I have a very good orange idea for an orange set in my photos. That's an idea that has been born. So like, what's the difference with in that and like a machine just like getting a photo from somewhere and being like, okay, if we combine this and put it together, as you have said, this is what you're getting. It's still the creator creating the thing. I've noticed that a lot, and like in response to that, I would quote this villain. His name is Thanos. He said, for as long as there are those who remember what was, there will always be those who are unable to accept what can be. AI is here for sure. Like, it's here to enhance a lot of stuff. It's just you as the individual, as the organization, to be able to look at it, analyze it, and find out how you can utilize it best and its capabilities.
This is my last question, and I want to pose it to everybody, so feel free to answer when you can. Where would you guys see now AI's role heading in terms of your respective fields over the next few years? And what would you say are some of your predictions for the future in terms of creative and AI collaboration?
I think it's an opportunity for us, especially young people, because there are lots of things that people are doing. Say, for example, in our context, in the grassroots, there are farmers producing different types of farm produce. They haven't put that into the digital space. And there's an opportunity for us to come in and bridge that with the buyers. To me, AI is creating more employment or business opportunities. It's not going to affect us in terms of jobs. And I can give an example with myself. I've been both in the corporate world and also a freelancer. And I don't think I've ever known being broke, because every day I have something that I can do. Yeah, I'm creating content for people. I'm managing social media platforms for businesses. I'm helping people with their projects. Yeah, you write your school project and you need somebody to proofread and edit. I am there to bridge that gap. It's mainly because of AI that I've been able to take even much of this work. So I think it's giving us more opportunities for self-employment and to empower ourselves, as opposed to coming to snatch away jobs from us. Yeah.
I very much agree with what my friend here has said, except for one thing, on the subject of AI taking away jobs. In a few years, I feel for sure AI is definitely going to streamline a lot of work for humanity. And in that, there's definitely going to be scaling down in lots of corporations and businesses. That isn't a bad thing, because, in my opinion, with the streamlining that AI is going to bring to us, it's also going to provide an opportunity for those people who have been scaled out of those businesses to engage in something new, like prompt engineering, for example.
To add on what Shem is saying, AI will completely revolutionize everything. Yeah, even when it comes to things like marketing, like we saw the Barbie marketing, where a company was able to predict what people wanted and everything went pink. So imagine with AI, more companies are able to do that. They're able to see, okay, Marvel, what do our fans like? How can we link products that they love using AI? How can we look for, their search in relation to our company, their searches, and find a way for them to buy our items, of buy this or that. It's going to be really insane. Yeah, of course, people will lose their jobs, but I think also it will force guys to adapt in various industries. Don't be more mechanical, but you'll find a way to work with a machine, feed it AI to give what you want. In my fields, let's say the digital content creation space, AI will get fingers right and human features right.
I think the question is how the future will be, and it's exciting. So people are creating these tools just to make it more and more easier to create, for everyone to create. I think that's the new possibility that we're going to have. Like, no one will be restricted in creating, so you can create what you want. So that's the upside, and also there's a downside where you can probably lose your job to an AI, but that's if you get someone who's as good as the AI, or you become as good as AI yourself and you just retain that job. There's a lot of opportunities for people to explore new career directions, and for people to explore how to create, how to kind of bring up your ideas, because there are people who will not really struggle to tell me what they think or to tell others what they think. But if they could show them, then it's easier.
As we're closing off the session, because that was my last question, I want to thank my guests for being here. I think we've had a very important conversation around AI in the creative space, spoken about how it affects the different creative fields that are represented here today, and definitely seeing the important aspects in terms of regulation, what the future holds, what we call the human touch, behind creativity and marketing is all about. Even to the audience who are watching, want to hear their views. And do you believe that AI is the future? Can we work? Can we coexist? And is it bound to be doomed? This has been the Safaricom Newsroom podcast. I want to thank everybody for participating. Thank you for your views you've shared. We've had a very interesting conversation. I love it. And I hope that you can continue on wherever you are. Please share your thoughts. And yes, catch us in the next one.